Well, she's graced our Port River for decades, and her extraordinary personality is what made Billie the Dolphin a South Aussie icon. Sadly, Billie died last week, but while she's gone, she certainly won't be forgotten. Not just for the joy she brought, but the suspicious circumstances of her death in the very sanctuary that was meant to protect her. Guest reporter Melody Horrell has our special investigation.
She seemed so small and vulnerable in a hostile environment, and I guess that really got to me.
This excitement that the dolphins give you, it just lifts you, you know.
Sometimes we are blessed. Sometimes the natural world reaches out to us, whether we deserve it or not. This is a life-changing story for many, beginning with one such moment, the day Billie came to play.
He was fabulous. You could actually touch him. And you touch, it's like touching silk.
I can't come down with you, mate.
For me, it's a very personal story, as it is for Mike Bosley, the man who's championed the Dolphins' cause for decades.
Over the years, she's come to me to embody everything that's difficult for the Port River Dolphins living in this environment.
Billie's journey actually goes back years before we came on the scene, starting with an old man, a horse, a dog, and, of course, a dolphin. In retirement, Sandy Sandford and Bib the dog lived a simple life, towing racehorses behind Sandy's battered old boat.
Animals are much better than humans, in my opinion.
So it was fitting that one clear, crisp morning in 1983, they were adopted by an orphan, a baby bottlenose dolphin abandoned in the Port River, which Sandy named Billie, thinking she was a he.
He came around about 4 years ago when he was born. His mother gave birth to him out there, and Mum and Dad had trouble holding him up, so I went along and grabbed him by the fin and held him above the water, and since then he's never left. Where are you, Bill? Shut up, he'll bite you.
The extraordinary relationship which developed couldn't go unnoticed forever. It caught the attention of photographer Martin Jacker, but he wasn't immediately welcomed by Sandy.
He said, no, dolphin's gone, mate. Too much pollution. She's been poisoned. She won't be here again. That was a story that he was telling to get rid of people.
But Martin persisted.
Well, I thought it was only going to take me one morning, but after about 12 months, I was still shooting. Every time I got the picture I was after, something new happened, and then I had to shoot that as well.
The images Martin captured turned Billie into Adelaide's most loved wild thing and raised the profile of this little colony of vulnerable creatures.
I saw Martin Jacker's photos in the Adelaide Advertiser, photos of Billie swimming at the racehorse, and decided to check it out.
They helped set the course of Mike's career, which in turn influenced mine.
I've always been looking for ways to try and reinforce the connection that people have with nature. And Billie swimming with the racehorse seemed to exemplify that coming together of wild, free nature and humans.
Martin even wrote a book about Billie, featuring his remarkable photographs.
And it sold well. Sold well in Australia, and they sold it in America.
The photos were so special that they got into newspapers and magazines all over the world. And Billie became famous, world famous.
But the future of Billie and friends was by no means secure, and the river remained a human domain, used as an industrial sewer, a stormwater drain, and a playground for fishing and boating.
A sea of spectators washed over all available standing space along the docks and piers.
In fact, the arrival of the tall ships in 1988 to celebrate the nation's bicentenary was a powerful reminder that nothing much had changed in the port.
There were so many boats around, little tinny boats, that we thought that if Billie turns up and there's all these little boats around, it's going to be in serious trouble because of the propellers. And the day the tall ship sailed out of the Port River, Billie disappeared. And we got really stressed that these tinnies must have damaged him or chopped him, and we weren't going to see him again.
Some weeks later, an emaciated dolphin was captured in the Patawalunga.
At the time was considered probably the most polluted bit of water in Australia. In there for a couple of weeks before it was decided by the Department of Environment that she had to be caught.
And that dolphin was taken into the marine land.
Marine land at that time represented all that was wrong with the way we dealt with wild creatures, penning them up in a concrete tank and having them perform for their supper. The fact that the business was by then in receivership proved a blessing for the little lost dolphin. Having been branded with a number 3, she was released back into the Gulf.
And about 2 weeks later, I'm standing at the port on the jetty waiting to see if Billie would come back, and a dolphin sailed past with a number 3 on its dorsal fin.
Sure enough, the dolphin was Billie, having come back to her river home.
And then for him to turn up again, you go, yes, here we go.
And she remained at the port for almost 20 years. It was after her return I went to work with Mike Bosley and was captured by the charm of these creatures.
Close his eyes.
Yeah, he's closing his eyes.
In particular by a loner called Jock, who seemed to prefer the company of people.
Don't, especially the
He wants you to swim, Mel.
He, like Billie, was incredibly expressive and affectionate, and equally at the mercy of the environment they choose to share with us.
Changed my perspective totally, and from then on I just devoted my life to trying to protect these animals.
Mike and others eventually succeeded in having the Port River declared a dolphin sanctuary in 2002, following this promise from the Rann government.
This is being held up as a sanctuary that other people across the world can look at to protect dolphins.
That'll be great for the dolphins, great for the environment.
Since the sanctuary was declared, the amount of effluent input has reduced and 2 dolphin rangers now cruise the river. However, a noxious cocktail of pollutants still enter the waterway.
There are still pollutants going into the river, there's absolutely no doubt about that.
Along with existing pollutants, it poses a direct threat to the whole colony and, most poignantly, the calves. When Billie lost her first, Mike named the second after Sandy.
I can remember distinctly wanting to go around to Sandy in hospital and visit him and tell him that the good news that Billie had another baby and it looked to be okay. But sadly, Sandy died just a day or so later, and I never got the chance to tell him.
In all, she lost 4 of her 6 offspring.
It's extremely tragic. Watching a mother dolphin pushing her dead baby around is probably the saddest thing I've ever seen. It's terrible.
But little did Dr. Bosley know that Billie herself would meet the same tragic end. For the past few weeks, Billie had been looking ill and losing weight rapidly. A team of experts captured her, undertook a blood test and found she was suffering from renal failure.
You're beautiful, girl, aren't you? You're beautiful.
The decision was made to immediately euthanize her. It was a shock to everyone who knew her. For Martin, it brought back memories he'd stored away.
I began to think back 20 years and all the things that happened to me in that 20 years. And that's shocking. Shit. I'm sorry.
Although official autopsy results have not been completed, PhD student Trish Lavery has tested the pollutant levels of other local dolphins.
In fact, in terms of some metals, our dolphins are some of the most polluted dolphins that have been recorded anywhere in the world.
Very well.
It's likely Billie herself was carrying such toxins in her system.
It's quite possible that there's an association between the metal toxicity of these animals and kidney damage.
For the Port River to become a true dolphin sanctuary, more must be done to protect their environment.
We have to hope that no more dolphins die in the interim.
And Mike hopes that Billy's death won't be in vain.
I'm hoping that Billy's legacy will be an improved level of protection for dolphins in Port Adelaide.
He's also hoping a bronze statue will be erected on the wharf, looking down on where Billy loved to tail walk, jump for joy in boat wakes and hang out with racehorses.
Where are you, Bill?